Good morning, my friends. I am the House Hacking Mom, and today I'm going to show you how I make my pumpkin waffles. We feel fall is on the horizon, and I find that the change of seasons is much like how my children grow. Not at all, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's all at once. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. To start with, we're going to have 12 ounces or 2 1/4 cups of whole wheat flour, 1 1/2 cups of pumpkin puree, 1/4 cup of plain yogurt, 1 cup of milk, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of unsalted butter, 2 egg yolks, and 2 egg whites beaten to stiff peaks. It's just 2 eggs separated and prepared differently. And then 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of pumpkin spice. And if you don't have actual pumpkin pie spice, you can also use a combination of cloves, ginger, cinnamon, and you can just look it up online how to sort of make your own version if you need to. It won't be a problem. And then in a separate bowl, we're going to mix together our wet ingredients. So that is the brown sugar, the egg yolks, and the yogurt to start. And then you can add in the milk and the pumpkin. And this recipe does make 5 large Belgian style waffles. If you have a different style waffle maker, it might make a little bit more, but just so you know that because this is a whole wheat recipe and we're using canned pumpkin, you're not going to want to eat 3 or 4 waffles. You're going to probably only want 1 to 2 at the most. So just make sure you make an appropriate amount for the amount of people you're serving. And then finally, you can add in the melted butter. The reason I add the melted butter at the end is because if you add it with the cold milk, it will sort of crystallize in the mixture and not mix in as nicely. So it mixes in better if you add it last after you've added in the pumpkin and everything has sort of come up to room temperature. And then we're just going to pour this wet mixture into our dry mixture. And then we're going to stir this together gently. We're not trying to develop gluten like you would if you were making a loaf of bread. Think of this closer to making something like biscuits. You want to combine it so that all the flour has disappeared and it's hydrated, but we're not trying to overmix this. And then finally, you're going to fold in your egg whites. Just take your time doing this, gently folding them in. The reason that the egg whites are in this recipe is because this recipe is made with whole wheat flour and pumpkin. Those are 2 pretty heavy ingredients when you compare it to a traditional buttermilk waffle or a yeast waffle. It's going to be a bit of a heavier waffle, so you need the egg whites to lighten the batter and keep the waffles from getting too dense. So make sure you do go through the trouble to fold them in nicely. And even so, the batter is going to be much thicker than a typical traditional waffle batter. And then you're going to go ahead and preheat your waffle iron. Mine goes up to 6, and so I preheated mine to 5 or 5.5 because if it's not hot enough, this is a thick batter and the waffles will not cook all the way through. And for my style waffle iron, it took about 1/2 cup to get a nice sized waffle, and you just kind of gonna gently have to push and kind of ease the batter into the corners, but you don't want to push it all the way over to the edge, and you don't want to overfill it because it will squirt out everywhere and make a mess. And that did happen on one of these waffles that I made because I overfilled it. As your waffles finish cooking, I like to keep them in a warm oven on a cooling rack set inside a baking tray so that they don't get soggy on the bottom. And this is what the waffles look like when they were done. Delicious, slightly crispy, but mostly soft, and very easy to eat and enjoy. And you can eat these plain or serve them with something like whipped cream or just some plain maple syrup, which is what I did, and my children and husband loved them. And if you really want to get into the fall spirit of things, take that couple extra tablespoons of pumpkin puree that should be left in the bottom of your pumpkin can and just use that to make a pumpkin spice latte. That would be a great way to use up the rest of that ingredient and really embrace this fall time of year. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please make sure you click the like button and subscribe to my channel. I make videos like this every week about healthy eating, frugal living, and minimalist parenting. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye!